Now this is pretty awesome, I gotta say. I mean, Ski-Doo was thinking ahead. They knew that these engines were going to be coming out a lot, so they actually put captive bolts down into the motor mounts there, so you don't even have to put a wrench on the backside. Made sure to thoroughly mark all the wiring, because I'm sure that it's all correct and, you know, done properly. I like how this whole steering setup, you know, is deemed adequate from the factory. Don't tell anybody. We'll bend that back later. I actually spent more time trying to remove that carburetor than I did getting the whole engine out of there. Still don't know what they use those for. So the first order of business is going to be trying to get that clutch off. I'm assuming that it's a threaded on clutch, so we're going to pull that outer piece off and see if we can piece out. Hopefully we don't end up pissed off and passed out. Man, look at this. There's like oil on the threads. Oh, grease. Can't believe that. Even the bearing idler there still spins. And it looks like from that hole that this is indeed a threaded on clutch. I don't think that's in the Ski-Doo manual, but it works. Alright, moment of truth. See if all this work was in vain or not. Well, that don't look healthy. This is a video note to myself to remember to put these spacers back on here. So we've got this off for further rehabilitation. Now something tells me that that gasket's cutting down on some power. Wow. Now, I don't know what's more hokey, the quality of those gaskets or the fact that I might actually try and position them right and reuse them. I guess the only good thing about somebody being in here before is the fact that all the bolts are pretty loose. Yeah, the studs are coming out with some of them, but we'll take it over a broken one. Alright, drum roll. I mean, it's not terrible. We'll see what the piston looks like. Well, that piston was definitely not loving it. We'll have to see if that's salvageable. What you want to do is leave a big piece of metal like that with the coils, you know, just hanging around and still attached to the rest of your motor, because you don't want to take the time to actually unhook all those wires. So that's the best way to do this, is to, you know, keep that annoyance present at all times. Oh man, what is this crap? Those studs are stuck into the flywheel. Well, due to the graphic nature of that content, I couldn't show you how I got the flywheel off. But we're making some progress now. Just got to split that bottom end open and see if we can size up any seals. So after all that, we get down to business, and as it turns out, nothing wrong with the crank seal. It's got another metal spacer inside of it, and the seal's actually in good shape. Same with the mag side. So much for all that. I guess in the process we found out the rings were stuck and that that intake gasket was bad, and probably why it was starting to burn down, so got that going for us. See kids, this is how you stay motivated. You just scatter parts all about so that you have to finish your project just to get it out of the way. So we just hosed everything down with WD-40 to get any debris or dirt that managed to find its way in there. Gonna give her a good coating of oil and then start putting it together. Reverse order. Cleaned up the little collar spacer that rides inside the crank seal. Heck, we might even throw a torque wrench on this thing. I think we actually got to figure out a plan to get some new gaskets in here. Base gaskets anyways. Head gaskets are still mint. Wrap some good sandpaper around a zip tie. Get that in the ring groove to clean it all out. Man, she's good as new. Nothing a Scotch-Brite pad couldn't take care of. Son of a gun. Been a while since I cracked a ring trying to get them off the pistons, but that one was stuck in there pretty well. Thought I had it working loose. We worked her loose alright. Guess this is going to be one of them high performance single ring pistons. So like any proper hoarder, I have, boxes of random junk that I'll probably never use. And within one of those boxes, we could not find a ring that would fit this. So we're going to do the next best thing. We got down to a bag here that contains multiple sizes of not very well marked rings. I think this one's a little bit bigger. We're just going to have to file that thing down and we'll make her work. That might be the most negative ring gap I've ever seen. It's the only thing we've got with a cutoff wheel on it, so slightly overkill. Well, there it is. Gapped up. Even made the clearance for the centering pin. We'll see what happens. Well, this is a new one on me. There's a crack clean through the sleeve there, running down into the transfer port. Well, that kind of sucks. And if you look down at the other transfer port, it's got a chunk missing out of it. So I don't know what happened to this thing. Maybe that was the reason why it actually got torn down originally for a rebuild, because somebody's been in here before. Maybe it threw a piston or something. Man. This kind of sucks. I wish I'd have seen that before I spent all that time putting the bottom end back together and working on those rings and stuff. As if getting up every day for the grind of going to work isn't enough, I made my life imitate Groundhog Day by setting my alarm to the same thing that Bill Murray wakes up to every morning.